Bardstown, Kentucky. It doesn't look like a place where secrets survive. It's postcard America, churches, brick homes, neighbors who recognize your car before you even reach the driveway. It's a town where, well, nothing ever really feels anonymous. And yet, between 2013 and 2016, Bardstown quietly became one of the most violent small towns in America. Not because of one crime, not because of a single bad year, but because of series of deaths that never made sense, well, on their own. It makes even less sense as time grows on. Meg, 4 people murdered. 1 woman vanished. A key witness was silenced. A police officer ambushed. Different stories, but all circling the same small radius. Police say they're unrelated. Locals say, well, that's impossible. And when you lay the timeline out end to end, it starts to feel like Bardstown wasn't experiencing random violence. It was unraveling. What do you think of that? It's wild, right?
It is.
Unbelievable. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Yore Town Podcast. The voice you're hearing, it's me, it's Matt, it's Beard Loss. Joining me as always is the beautiful, a little under the weather, Dun Queen, Meg.
Hey.
So if you hear some coughing, or coughs that are so hard, so loud that it rattles your ribs and actually turns off and on our clapper light in the middle of the night. So when you wake up sometimes thinking somebody broke in, motion activated, the alarms are going off. Is it going to be a true crime case that some other podcast is going to talk about? The Yore Town Podcast? No, it's unfortunately Meg coughing.
Sorry.
Cough so hard that not even NyQuil is working. I'm not saying it with a laugh. Like, I feel bad. Sickness is everywhere. What do they always say? It's the season.
About a weekend.
We are about.
I'm on the downside of it.
Which is an upside, right?
Sure.
Woo! But this is a case that, I don't know, I randomly stumbled upon over the week. I don't know if it seems somewhat like in my brain because it's kind of newer. You know, a lot of the stuff we've done is super, super old cases. But this one, 2013 to 16. A little bit different. So I figured we'd jump into it. We'd go to Kentucky, somewhere that has a lot of bourbon and a lot of horse racing, which Meg had some luck on the ponies recently. And I said, the stars are aligning. Let's talk about this. And again, viewer and listener, discretion is advised. And we're not trying to make jokes on a serious crime. Obviously, this has affected a community and families, but it's the holiday time. And it's, and Meg, we put our lighter take, is that a good way to put it, on some true crime cases. So we're out here trying to have some fun and bring awareness to some crazy cases. So with that being said, should we jump into it?
Let's do it.
Without further ado, let's talk about Jason Ellis. All right, Meg, what are you laughing at me?
That was an interesting voice.
You like it?
Yeah, it was a good character.
Without further ado, Jason Ellis wasn't just another... No, I can't do that. Nobody. This is the point where everybody would just turn it off.
I meant for that moment.
Cool.
It was different.
The moment's gone. Sorry about it. Producer, edit that out. No, I'm just kidding. Jason Ellis, he was a cop, Meg. He was an officer. It wasn't just another patrol officer. He was the canine officer, a position that places you directly in the path of drug arrests, high-risk stops, long-running investigations, and probably a bunch of trips into the elementary school to show off the old dog, right? Officers like Ellis don't just enforce the law, they interrupt routines, and interruptions can create enemies, right? May 25th, 2013. We probably still had snow here. Just after midnight, Jason finished his shift and began the drive home along the Bluegrass Parkway. Kind of a cool name, right?
That is a cool name.
I like that. That could be
a good band name.
Do you think it is already a band name?
I don't know.
Well, know who knows? My phone. Bluegrass Parkway Band. Yes or no? You saying it's taken? Bluegrass Parkway is Australia's longest running, continuously active bluegrass band. They celebrated for their traditional sound, strong harmonies, and 1940 single microphone performance style. So it's an Australian band.
Interesting.
I would have never known that.
I would have to look into that. That sounds fun.
The current members, Paul Duff, Maria Duff, Mick O'Neill plays the banjo. Mick O'Neill on the banjo. I feel like this is made up, but it's there. Huh. They've been performing a long time. Interesting. And ironically, there's a YouTube video of 2017 right smack dab in the middle of all of this off the Bluegrass
Huh.
Parkway.
Weird.
Whoa. Things move in mysterious ways. So we're coming off not Australia's Bluegrass Parkway, but Kentucky's Bluegrass Parkway. Somebody had noticed that there was some tree branches, Meg, that had been placed across the road. There wasn't storm debris, and it wasn't an accident, and it probably wasn't Bigfoot. Right? They were branches that were placed deliberately, positioned to slow down a vehicle. So Jason, he steps out of the cruiser. From the darkness, somebody opens fire. He was struck multiple times before he could even react. The shooter didn't steal his weapon, didn't ransack the cruiser, and didn't leave behind easily traceable evidence. This wasn't panic. This was an ambush. Despite FBI involvement and a reward that climbed into 6 figures, nobody was ever arrested. And then Bardstown experienced a second shock. What do you think? What's your initial gut telling you, Meg? What's the dun-dun queen thinking?
I don't know.
Was it meant for him, or was it just a random act where somebody was getting shot anyways?
Might have been random.
Hmm?
Might have been random. Yeah.
I think so. I have to imagine, and obviously I know a little bit, but I'm just going to throw this out there that, officers, they have routines, they have schedules. Do you think maybe this cop made enemies in a small town? Okay. Let's go a little bit forward. April 1st, 2014. Kathy Netherland, she didn't show up for work, Meg. That alone raised concerns. When police entered her home, they found Kathy and her 16-year-old daughter, Samantha, dead. Both had been shot execution style. There was no signs of forced entry. Nothing was stolen that they were able to see, and the front door was wide open. Initial reports said that this wasn't random violence. This wasn't a burglary gone wrong. It was personal. Investigators focused on Kathy's boyfriend, Brooks Hawk, the last known person that actually saw her alive. The relationship had been, let's go with unstable. All right. There was arguments that had been documented and some other stuff that had been, discovered in the investigation, but there was never a charge that was filed, for anything domestic or anything like that. Not because suspicion disappeared, but because evidence strong enough to survive court never materialized. And like many of these cases, it stalled, which is ironic. Stalled, horse country, horse stalls, stalled. No, I thought that was good.
It was.
I got a smile, almost a chuckle. Behind the scenes, though, something else was quietly lining up, Meg. So we got 3 murders, 2 situations, 2 different places, same small town. I mean, if this happened in Yore Town, pun intended, Yore Town, but the area that you grew up and work at and stuff, I mean, it's not too far off other than the weather and the horses. Small towns,
Mm-hmm.
This is 2 random acts. Like if this happened in even where I live, small town, do you think they're connected, or do you think it just happens to be 2 small acts?
Connected.
And my brain instantly goes, we got a problem, right?
Mm.
Brooks Hawks, the person that we talked about, had a brother, Nick, who is a Bardstown police officer. Nick had reportedly spoken with Kathy Netherland shortly before her death. His position inside the department, well, it complicated everything. In 2015, Nick was fired from the police force. The reasons were described publicly as internal policy violations. But what mattered more was what kind of came next. Nick was scheduled to testify before a grand jury related to the Netherland murders. But he never got the chance. Because on July 14th, 2015, Nick Hoke, I hope I'm saying the name right. How would you say it? H-O-U-C-K.
Hawk?
Let's go with Nick H. He's driving home, Meg, July 14th, 2015. At some point along the road, his car gets ambushed. There was multiple shots fired, and he was killed at the scene. Police quickly stated they stated 2 different things. They started to state that his murder was not connected to the Netherland case. The
Lies.
timing was impossible to ignore, right? He died days before he was expected to testify. And it was an ambush, another one. And it was another silenced voice, another case without an arrest. That's 4 people dead, 3 incidents, all kind of interconnected. That's 2 cops, even though he was fired, he's still a cop, right? He's still connected. Once a cop, always a cop, right? Kind of thing. I don't know if that's a real thing, but you still have some friends, some brothers in the force that whether you did something stupid and got fired or maybe you were let go for other reasons, like he still got some boys in and around the area, I would assume, right? So all that's happening. That's a lot in a small town, right? Then weeks later, Crystal Rogers, a 35-year-old mother of 5, vanishes. Her car was found abandoned on the side of the road. Her purse was inside. Her phone was missing. There was no signs of a struggle, no confirmed sightings, no trace. But guess what, Meg? Guess who Crystal happened to be dating? Brooks Hawk.
Huh.
Not
random.
Search efforts expanded. FBI joins the investigation. National media gets the case, follows the case, talks about a case. Crystal Rogers, to this day, at the time of the reporting, from the information that I have gathered, has never been found. And with cases like this, who gets involved, Meg? Family. Father. So Crystal's father, Tommy, refused to stop searching. He organizes volunteers. He follows the tips. He's publicly criticized. He publicly criticizes the whole entire investigation. 2016, November, he was hunting with his grandson. Tommy was shot and killed. Another ambush, another family shattered, another, what's the right word? Not red eye, not sore eye, another hit to the community. And again, no suspect has ever been charged with him shot and killed with his grandson. Right? So to recap for anybody that might have just jumped forward in here, Jason, cop, ambushed, murdered. Mother-daughter, shot, killed. Never convicted, but there was a hawk that was dating mother-daughter. Then we got a hawk who was a cop, fired, testimony, murdered. Then we have another hawk dating somebody who ends up missing and ends up dead. Then the father of said daughter who was dating another hawk tries to, find the daughter, publicly organizing, is criticizing, out hunting, ends up dead. This is wild. What's going on in Bardstown? Not even the Australian Bluegrass Parkway Band can make this situation better with a free show. What are you thinking, Meg? There's a lot going on here. And your brain, I could see it just thinking. What are you thinking? Who's doing this?
I don't know.
Wild.
Somebody with some training.
You would have to imagine some training, some connections, some pull, right? You got no theories, no guesses. We have a lot of people dead. One family, 3 family members of one family potentially involved at this point, right? I wonder how big the Hawk family is.
I know. I really don't know.
That's wild. All right. Well, at this point,
I mean, they have ties with law enforcement, so I'm going to assume it has like bad blood with law enforcement.
Even though they were law
wrongfully
enforcement.
Convicted something or other. So they thought, or like it sounds like it's like a revenge or a vendetta.
Crazy.
Okay, carry on.
Carry on. So at this point, law enforcement maintains that these cases are not connected, and technically it might be true, but there are a few documented details that are often overlooked that kind of makes the explanation harder to accept. First, every confirmed murder involved a targeted attack. It wasn't spontaneous. It wasn't burglary, but it was violent, right? 2 victims, Jason Ellis and Nick Hawk, were ambushed along roadways, a rare method that requires planning, patience, and familiarity with the routines of these people. Another one, like a third thing, is one of the victims was a scheduled witness in an active murder investigation and was killed before being, before the testimony and stuff like that. Multiple victims were tied to the same social circle, whether through personal relationships or law enforcement. And finally, despite years of investigations, multiple task force, FBI involvement, and intense public pressure, was there even a single conviction that had been secured? Didn't appear so. These facts don't prove a single theory, but together, they refuse to feel random, right? You might be thinking, what happened to old Brooks Hawk? Well, Hawk, who was Crystal Rogers' boyfriend at the time of her July 2015 disappearance, ended up being found guilty, Meg, of murder, principal, or accomplice in tampering with physical evidence in July after a 10-day trial. Only 10 days. He was then sentenced to life in prison for Rogers' death in September, plus 5 years for tampering with evidence. And this all came out in November of 2025. So pretty recent. They finally were able to get that. And there was another man that was actually convicted. A Joseph Lawson was convicted in the Rogers murder case as well. Life in prison. And they got the life. Yeah. So just to kind of give this little bit of an update that happened in September, November kind of time frame. You had old Judge Charles Sims, who did the sentencing that we talked about. But Kentucky law, Meg, forbids a sentence greater than life in prison. The sentences will run concurrently. Not good old Kentucky, right? Because he received, Lawson, 20 years of conspiracy and 5 years for tampering. Before the sentencing, Rogers' mother, sister, brother, aunt, and 2 of her daughters gave victim statements that addressed right at these men. And then Rogers' mother, Sherry, spoke the longest. She had an 11-page statement. I couldn't imagine having the guts and having just like, as a parent, staring at the accused killers after you just lost your kid. I don't know if 11 pages is long enough. Heart-wrenching, huh? At least, though, they get a little bit of some closure. Somebody's doing some time, right? You don't see that in a lot of the cases. But then a third man was convicted in the case as of recent as well. Joseph Lawson, his father, Stephen, was sentenced to 17 years after a jury found him guilty of tampering with evidence and conspiracy to commit murder. Because July 5th, when she was reported missing by Sherry Ballard, the mom, she hadn't been seen since the night of July 3rd. Her car was found abandoned, which we talked about, had a flat tire on the Bluegrass Parkway. Rogers' keys, phone, and purse were still inside the red Chevy Impala. The 35-year-old's body still has never been found, and they were both charged in September. This came after FBI of Louisville spent years searching while asking residents during, just trying to build the case where she had been alive and stuff like that. So a lot of these guys took the phone, took the purse, whatever it was, and just started kind of messing with evidence. Small town, people talk, people know things, and it's kind of one of those things where, hey, they were able to finally piece some of these rumors, some of these conversations together. That's wild. Wild. Got him.
I feel like Chevy Impalas come up a lot.
A lot.
I don't think I'll ever own an Impala.
I did.
I think I'm never going to.
I know. I owned a red Chevy Impala for the longest time.
I feel like they're targeted.
I don't. Got me to where I needed for the longest time, but never again am I getting one. Neither are our kids. I don't know. I got nothing else on this. It was just something that it was nice to finally have a kind of like a true crime style one where there was answers, there was convictions, there was arrests, and it started with one, Brooks, which is just wild. That I couldn't imagine that family. You know what I mean? Not only do you have loss of life, but now you're one of the people that participated in the loss of life. Family turning on each other. I hate to see it. And then, then you have multiple families when you got a son and now a father. The father out there searching for justice, but then you got this other father that's trying to hide evidence, tamper evidence, and protect a son in a weird way, So lots of families in Bardstown. But Bardstown never collapsed into chaos. I mean, there were no barricades, there was no mass departures, there was no warning signs. And like life does, it continued, which maybe that's the most unsettling part, because sometimes the most disturbing true crime stories aren't about what we know. They're about how many times violence can strike the same place before silence becomes the explanation. Bardstown, Kentucky. That silence lasted quite a long time before they found peace. And if they even have found peace, couldn't imagine. But 3 people are paying the time. What do you think? Maybe next week we switch gears a little. We're approaching the holiday season. You come up with something next week, right? Okay. We have so much time for homework and deep diving between holidays and travel and sports and work and this and that. But we'll think about it. Or, and concerts. And if anybody happens to maybe have a topic that they would like us to do, let us know. Because this, I think, looking at the time, it'll be the last episode before Christmas. It'll be the 21st that it'll be released. Maybe we'll go Christmassy. Maybe it'll be murder. Maybe it'll be history, mystery. Who knows? We're on it. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, thanks not only to the Dun Queen. You made it the entire episode without coughing, I think. I'm proud of you.
I think I did once. That was maybe a little bit.
Just a little baby cough. Little baby cough.
I also ran out of water.
No, I saw you shaking it over there, so I was like, our time is running low. All right. Hopefully everybody enjoys their week. Hopefully everybody has some Christmas shopping done. We now get to end the recording and go figure out the Christmas tree feud that is happening in this house. And lots of football and snacks. Hopefully everybody not only enjoys their day, their week. It's supposed to be a good, happy, exciting, magical time of the year. And hopefully you guys get to enjoy that. And hopefully we do as well. But we can't thank you enough. Happy holidays from our Yore Town family to yours. And we'll be back next week for a little episode pre-Christmas. I'm excited, Meg.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's get out of here. That's all I got. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.